I would say I went close to hating you at one point.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely did with you.
I don't even know why that is. I just think you're actually funny, but no one else does.
Well, it's because everybody else is stupid. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad you think life is, it is going to be okay. It's always okay.
I mean, what's going through your mind at that point?
Panicking away.
How did you deal with it and how did you get through it? Because I know that through that time, most couples split up.
Yeah, they did. They did.
You went the exact opposite way, and it seems that it's brought you even closer.
It did.
Why do you think you had the success with your relationship when so many didn't?
I was sat playing an Xbox on a small TV on a camping chair, with a bottle of wine.
I would say probably the most loyal person I have in my life is you.
Welcome to the Rich in Success podcast, the podcast that aims to define exactly what success means to you and gives you the tools to achieve this in your daily life. Hosted by action-taking mindset coach, world record holder and successful entrepreneur Matt Hall. Each week, this show brings you motivation, education and inspiration on how you can live a happier, more fulfilled and more successful life. Are you ready to take your life to the next level? If so, this is the podcast for you. Now, let today's lessons begin.
Welcome everybody to this episode of Rich in Success, the show that brings you motivation, education and inspiration on how you can live a happier, healthier, a more successful and more fulfilled life. Today's episode is very different. Welcome to the show. My name is Matt Hall. I am joined today by professional musician, but more importantly than that, my best mate, Dan Mains. Now, just going for a totally different vibe. Literally, I've spent all morning laughing. If you do want to head over to YouTube, check out the vlog we've just done. We just played his or hers because we came to the conclusion that the two of us have been in a relationship with each other longer than we've been able to hold down any other relationship. So we thought it makes sense to play his and hers. Then we had a disaster because we found out it was you or me and was just like, that's not right. But we had a really, really funny vlog episode. So if you want to check that out, that's available now. Head over to YouTube to see how we got on. The reason I wanted to bring Dan onto this podcast is me and Dan have been close friends since I was 17 years old when I joined a Take That tribute band. I know. All the Take That fans go mad. Way. That's kind of one of the main things I spent the last decade doing was touring in this band. Dan is the lead singer. He plays Gary Barlow in the band. And obviously, off stage, we've experienced life together for over a decade. And we've changed a lot over those years. We've gone through a lot over those years. And what I would say about Dan is we've got a lot of similarities. We've got a very similar sense of humour, which you'll find out on the vlog. But there's also a lot of differences. And Dan is genuinely somebody that I turn to as somebody to answer my questions. I spend a lot of time coaching other people and giving answers to their questions, providing solutions to their problem. And sometimes it's good for me to get a very different perspective from someone I know, someone I trust, and someone that really knows me probably more than many people do on quite a deep level, just because we've been so close for so long. So today I thought I'm going to just expose you to this relationship, and we're just going to be very, very real. We're going to be very honest. And, as I keep talking a lot about on social media at the moment, nobody's perfect, which includes me. And I've still got a lot that I'm working on, a lot that I want to work on. And Dan plays a part in that, in particular with relationships. Dan is, in many ways, everything that success is. He's become recently a parent. He's just recently got engaged. And he does a job that he absolutely loves, that he's passionate about, living life on his terms. And I think that's important because he's not the richest man in the world and, he's not got a six-pack and all these things that Instagram tell us that we should be aiming to have. But for me, he's one of the most successful people that I know. And I didn't always see it that way. And I wouldn't have always told you that, which is why I've had to go on my journey. And I think this is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. So I want to say thank you for being here as always. And please enjoy episode number 144, The Power of True Friends with professional musician Dan Main. So, the first thing that you will be aware of if you're watching this on YouTube, you may not be aware if you're listening on audio, because we've got a very, very well-behaved little person with us. Dan, we've got your daughter here.
Oh, sorry, I thought you thought that was me.
No, that's not you.
Hello.
We're joined by Bonnie Mains. How old is Bonnie, Dan?
Bonnie is nearly 8 months. She'll
Yeah.
be 8 months on Sunday.
She was born in December.
Yeah, 24th.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
And I honestly don't think there's a better behaved child
For now.
on the planet. There's time, isn't there? But she's so well behaved. We thought we can literally do the episode with her on Dan's knee. If you're listening on audio and you want to see evidence, check out the YouTube. She's really here.
Oh,
there you go. Now we want to tell the people, do we? Do you want to tell the audio that you're here? Dan, I feel like that's a good place to start. You've become a dad.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah.
I haven't.
No.
What's it like, genuinely, in your experience?
Hard work. Very hard work. However, it's the most rewarding hard work you could ever think of. Like, obviously, sleep, that's gone. That goes out the window.
Is it actually? Because she just
Not
seems
so
so good.
Now.
Right,
so
okay.
Now. I mean, she's the most well-behaved baby you'll come across. However, that doesn't mean to say she's going to sleep.
Is it what you expected fatherhood to be, or did you have an expectation? What were your thoughts beforehand?
I don't really know. I think we all have an expectation of what it's going to be. Obviously, I can only go because like my sisters and my brother and all the rest of it, they've all had kids, so I've sort of got a gist of it. But it's always easy when you can hand them back at the end of the day, and that you don't get that option.
This is the bit though. As a non-parent, I'm like, how do you deal with that bit? Is it all right?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I mean, like you say, I think we are lucky with Bonnie.
Yeah.
Because she's not tearaway. I mean, obviously, wait till she starts crawling and walking and stuff. It's going to be that's then going to be a whole new level and a whole different thing where I've got to chase her around the room all day long.
Yeah.
But so far, the only thing that's changed is the sleep.
I hear people say all the time, it's like it's a different type of love.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means obviously we've all fallen in love in the past and we're all in love now. But when you say it's a different type of love, it's a completely different feeling in a way of it's not just love that you have for this thing that's here. It's literally your life depends on it. And instantly, the second I saw her come out, it was like, that's it now. Everything I do in my own personal life, whether she's there or not, will have a reaction to her. And it will affect her either in the present or in the future. So every decision I make has to include Bonnie in it. And so it changed everything in that way. And also, it's like, you would give your life for them. Instantly, within an instant, that changes. That they're the differences. So the love side of it is probably it's a very similar feeling. It's just that it comes with a lot of other stuff inside there in one big package, where it's like having the world on your lap, literally, and you've got to look after that.
So you've been playing Gary Barlow in the best Take That tribute band that exists.
Yeah.
And genuinely, like, being on TV with Graham Norton, with the real Take That, literally toured Europe, festivals to 20,000 people, like big accolades. People that are maybe not aware of tribute bands probably don't realise the scope of work that the good bands get to do and the style of work that the good bands get to do. In your words, what's the experience like, being in a fake band, getting to do these variety of gigs? One of the questions that people always ask me, because I've obviously done 12 years of it, is don't you get bored doing the same songs and playing the same character? Do you still love it? What's the experience been like, and how do you find it now?
I do still love it, yeah. I think the whole pandemic played a huge part in that. I think we'd been going about 12 years on it before the pandemic sort of started.
How old were you when you first joined the band?
When I first joined, so if it was 2007, I was born in 82. Terrible at maths.
We're not doing this again.
I was
Again, if you watch the
45, maybe.
if you watch the vlog, you'll know neither of us can do maths either. So
We'll do it the old-fashioned way, like
on.
I did at school. 82, 92, 2002.
there's so many people screaming at the episode now, just saying
25.
you were 25.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
No.
I mean, I knew I was 17. I
I just
didn't
knew
have to.
the year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 25 when
Yeah.
I first started. 24, because it was April 2007, so it was before my 25th birthday.
So you were 24, so that's a long.
Yeah.
You know, you're 37 now.
38.
38.
Nearly 39.
Jeez. It's getting old. So that's been a long time. A big part of your life.
Yeah, it was huge. And then after the 12 years we've been doing it, or whatever it was, just before the pandemic hit, it had got a little bit stale in a way, but not that stale. I still loved doing it, but the travelling was like, oh, I'm in the van now. There's just a little bit of that were kicking in. Then obviously the pandemic happened, and I had to go out and get a proper job, as they say. So then getting to do this again, it's like 2007 all over again for me, because it's like brand new again, and it's reminded me how easy it is in comparison to a so-called proper job and getting up early in the morning to do that. I mean, obviously I've got this proper job now, but it's refreshed it for me.
Yeah.
In a way, in a positive way, which is good. Always got to try and take the positives out of everything you can. Really.
You said before we started filming that the whole lockdown pandemic, having to get a job, was a really, really difficult time.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
It was huge. I mean, literally, you couldn't write it. I think about 2 weeks before lockdown happened and all this started, I gave up smoking.
Which is something you'd literally done all your life.
I'd done since I was 13 years old. So, 13 to 36. You know, it's a lot of years. And I'd given up smoking. So I was like, all right, brilliant. I can do this, you know.
Yeah.
And then lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And then we found out we were pregnant with Bonnie. And I was like, oh, I feel a bit stressed now. The one thing I wanted to do was have a cigarette. But I didn't. I stayed strong on that. And then obviously it got to a point, because at first we're all just thinking, oh, it'll be a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks, we'll be back to normal. It'll be nice to have a couple of weeks holiday, you know. And then as it was going on and on and on, I'm thinking, and then obviously the money was getting less and less and less.
Yeah.
And then there was more and more gigs coming in my diary that was literally full to the brim, probably the fullest it's ever been.
Yeah, yeah.
Was just going down and down and down like that and disappearing like it had invisible ink on it. And we then...
I mean, what's going through your mind at that point?
Panic in a way.
Was you?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, is this ever going to end? Am I ever going to sing again?
There was just so much uncertainty, wasn't there?
Yeah. We're bringing a baby into the world.
Yeah.
Where's my money coming from? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, darling. So thinking, where's my money coming from? So then, obviously, the conversation happened. Got to go out and get a proper job. So went out, got a proper job delivering parcels for a living. And
you, when you was like 18 and stuff, you've done a lot of different jobs before.
Oh yeah.
So it's not you were shy of hard work, but
No.
that's been a long time where you've not had to work like that.
Huge. Well, since obviously being a baby, I did 16 years at school and then I got a job. So then doing that 14 years again, it's almost as long.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like starting all over again. And
Do you want to say something, Bonnie?
You want to say something?
Is it just Daddy, or is there anything else you want to add to the podcast?
How about ta?
Cheers.
Ta. Ta.
Just Dad.
Ta. Stick that in your mouth. Oh, there you go. So yeah, having to get up at 6 a.m, get a quick coffee, get in a van, drive, load up the gear, go, working all day and get back again at 6, 7 o'clock at night for, let me tell you, not even half what I was earning doing the singing. So it's soul destroying in a way, because that was 6 days a week as well. So 6 days a week and my monthly wage was just under half, well, probably less than half what I get singing. So it was enough to get us through, and it's something I had to do at the end of the day, because you have to survive, don't you? And I was lucky to be able to get a job.
But what did that do to your mental health? Like, you've gone from being on a stage, everyone telling you you're amazing, earning twice as much.
Yeah, that was really difficult for me. Me personally, I'm like a homing pigeon. I like to be at home, always have. I know my fiancée Emily, she likes to be out of the house. She likes to be out doing stuff. I'm the opposite. So we both got flipped, where she had to get locked down and work from home. I had to go out and start meeting thousands of new people, which has always been a bit awkward for me to do. So it was difficult, and obviously I've got a pregnant missus as well on top of that, who's extra stressed with everything. I'm more stressed than I should be with everything, and it was a difficult time for us, a lot of arguing and things like that, but we got through it. That was the main thing, and obviously this is the end result of it, so it's all well worth it, but mentally it was a big struggle for both of us.
What do you think one is how did you deal with it, and how did you get through it? Because I know that through that time most couples split up.
Yeah, they did.
You went the exact opposite way, and it seems that it's brought you even closer.
It did.
Why do you think you had the success with your relationship when so many didn't?
Purely because I think, like me personally, I am, as you'll know, knowing me for a lot of years, I'm quite an adaptable person where I will adapt to a situation quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I had to do that. I had to basically not be selfish. That was the biggest thing, because yes, I had it was hard for me, and boo-hoo, I'd lost my job and I had to go out working when it was raining and stuff, and I was moaning like hell about it for a couple of weeks. But then I realised I've got a pregnant girl there, that her whole body's changing, and that's a whole different ball game. Hormones are going off and all the rest of it. I just thought, don't be so selfish.
And then in doing that, you feel proud that you've been able to provide, you've been able to give a solution. It's something I talk about all the time when I'm coaching people, is often relationships break down because you only focus on what you need and what you want.
Yeah.
If you can start to look at it from, how do I serve other people better? How do I give, to them what they need? Then immediately you're helping them. But one thing there's a phrase, they say the art of living is giving.
Yeah.
And one of the best things to make you feel good is when you've helped others.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what you're breaking down for us, is you took yourself out of the equation and went, focus on what I can control, and I can control how I help others and what I do what I do for everybody else. With regards to the smoking all those years, you've successfully quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. And we're now, 8 months later?
No, it's probably nearly 2 years, I think. It's not 2 years.
Oh, 2 years?
Yeah, because it's about 18 months. Because I gave up in the February.
Jeez, yeah.
And we locked down in the March.
I've actually lost a year in my mind. Yeah. So, a lot of people struggle with smoking forever.
Yeah.
Have you got any advice? How did you, after all those years, what was the change this time? How did you manage to not only really quit, but stay away for 2 years?
It's really terrible advice.
Okay.
But it was her. Literally.
The reason was bigger than your own?
Yes, basically. Because I tried before, but I didn't want to be a smoker around Bonnie. Simple as that. I was able to do it by using a vape. Mm-hmm. So, and then what I did was obviously started with the maximum amount of nicotine you could have in that vape, and then each month I brought the nicotine down and down and down and down and down until eventually I was on a vape that had no nicotine in it. I've always struggled with everything when I'm doing something for myself. I always that, unfortunately, I am that.
Why do you think that is?
Sort of person. I don't know, because I always just think, well, it's only affecting me, so what's the point, kind of thing. Bad attitude to have.
Do you think that's to do with you don't value yourself enough?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I had many years like that. Many years of not believing in myself or whatever, and just thinking, well, it is what it is, and I'll do what I do. Fatherhood changed that hugely.
Well, I think that's something as well, like, to talk about, because you said there about being in a band and being a performer in general is about people praising you. Ultimately about getting good feedback.
Yeah.
But you're getting it as being someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not saying, well done, Dan. They're saying, well done, Gary.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that with your own identity in life? Does that play a part of, like, when you say you don't value yourself? Is that because you spent so long being someone else? And how do you feel getting praise as someone else and not as you?
I think I used to struggle with it more earlier on in life, definitely, when I was younger. And it was a bit like I'd be up there because I know that I'm an alright singer, but I also knew that I could play all these musical instruments and I could write songs and all the rest of it. But nobody ever got to see that with me being Gary Barlow. All right, yeah, I'd play the piano every now and again, but they didn't see me playing guitar or doing all the other stuff.
Because piano is probably one of the least favourable instruments for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guitar, drums.
Yeah, piano's way down on there. So I think it used to hurt me more when I'd see a comment saying, "Oh, he's not very good." I used to really get to him like, "Oh no, I'm a good musician," you know, or other comments saying, "Oh, flipping just a boy band or whatever." It's like, no, it's much more than that. I mean, even take that, I'm much more than that. So yeah, I did used to really struggle with stuff like that, and then I started struggling with how I looked and stuff as well, and I'd have to try and like Gary would lose like 2 or 3 stone or something. Like, oh, now I've got to try and do that, and I really struggled to do that. And then when I didn't do it, I felt down and rubbish about it, and I was conscious then on stage. People going, "Oh, he's fatter than Gary Barlow," and stuff like that. And that was difficult, and it was difficult, yeah, because I ended up because you've also got to keep it where some people take it a bit too far the other way, where they start believing in the person instead, you know, living life that way. And I didn't ever want to do that either. I still wanted to stay as myself. So it was really difficult to sort of balance that and then also still be the best tribute to him. You know, so that was difficult. I struggled with all that. Again, lockdown's been good for me.
Having a break from
to
it.
reset everything and just remember, you know. And it has just massively pushed the reset button, which is great.
Who is Dan?
Dan has been many things in the past. But Dan now is the best version of Dan that you could get.
What's the things he's been in the past? That's what we want to know. What's some of the more difficult moments? What's some of the things that you look back on and think, Jesus, I can't believe that was Dan?
Just some craziness in the past. You've been there.
I'm not going to probe any more than you want to go, but there's a lot I could tell you. That's all I'm going to say.
There's a lot of craziness, just like drinking too much for a start. Everybody does it when they go through certain things, I guess. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. That was my go-to. Ending up living in my mate's house that had no carpet. Well, he didn't live there, but he let me stay there, thankfully. But it had like no carpet. It didn't even have a couch. I was sat playing an Xbox on a small TV on a camping chair, you know, with a bottle of wine. They're low points, really low points, and just certain actions that I took back then, and just really strange behaviour, I suppose, you know.
But at the time it made sense.
At the time it made complete sense.
Why?
Because I was sad, I guess. I was sad, I was down, I didn't know how to deal with it, so I just went into a caveman state of mind, in a way. And I think I had to do it, though, as well. I had to because I never really had that time on my own. Whether you look in from the outside and go, flipping out, what's he doing? Or not, it makes no difference. I just needed to lock myself away, I think. Grow a big beard and, you know, let my hair go a bit long and stuff like that. I needed to go through that to get, I know it's a cliche, but go to the bottom to get to the top and actually realise what am I, who am I, and what do I actually want. And what I actually want and who I am is exactly what I've got here in these 4 walls and on my lap and just over my shoulder and upstairs working. All of it is everything I've ever wanted.
Because you said about identity, worrying about how you looked. We said before we started filming about needing a flashy car.
Yeah.
Why do you think you thought that was important, and what's changed now?
I don't know. I've spent too many years, like needing people, whether they be from school or whatever, just people on Facebook and social media and all the rest of it, or even just down the street, looking at me going, "Oh, he's doing well.
Yeah,
he's done well for himself since leaving school." Probably comes down to a little bit of, like, you know, I got bullied for a couple of years in school when I was a bit younger. That sort of stems from a little bit from that, I suppose. I just want to make sure everyone can see from school that. But also towards the end of school, especially music-wise, there was a lot of pressure put on me in a way. Like my teachers made me sign an autograph for them because they were convinced I was going to be a famous singer, a famous
So
musician.
there's an expectation, the
Yeah,
bar's
yeah.
been set high.
Yeah, and obviously I never became that. I mean, the thing is that I still managed to earn a really good wage and living out of doing that, but I still wasn't that famous rock star they were expecting me to be. So I think I needed people to see like, oh, he's done really well, hasn't he, doing his singing? Knew he would. I knew he'd do that when he saw him at school. I suppose there was a lot of that involved.
Do you know what I think is interesting as well? There's a lot of talk now about the dangers of social media and Instagram culture, filters, and I agree with all of that, you know, but I also think it's a fantastic tool, utilised correctly. You know, it is a brilliant platform, but you grew up in an era with none of that.
Yeah.
But you're still telling me you had the same problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Expectations to be a certain way,
Yeah.
wanting to please other people. And that kind of tallies or ties in well with something I always say is social media hasn't massively changed people. It's just exposed who they already were.
Yeah,
And it's give them another platform to be that person. You know, before it would be, they used to say keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
So it was your neighbours, or we still judged each other. There was still bullying. There was still all the same stuff that people go on about now.
Yeah.
It's just a different platform where people do it.
It's just more accessible now. You can just see it more.
But then everything is
all
in life
happened.
now.
Yeah,
Everything's
absolutely.
quicker.
Yeah.
Everything's easier. And I think that's just a really interesting point to pick up on. You say he's the best version of himself now, as in you, Dan, not Gary. We don't know how Gary's getting on. I'm sure he's fine. Aside from being a parent and getting married, what's the reason? What is it about you?
I know it sounds like a cliche and it sounds like I'm trying to be John Lennon, but I've always needed love. I have, like, literally, love is all you need and all that rubbish, but it is actually true for me. I know some people need money, some people need good looks, some people need nice things. I've always needed that. That potentially again comes from me upbringing, because that's all I ever saw with my parents. We didn't have money, we didn't have nice things all like that, but what we did have was two parents that were obviously massively in love, who brought up 4 kids, and it all worked out happily ever after kind of thing. So I think I've always wanted that, and that's all I've ever needed. I just wanted what my mum and dad had, preferably without the struggle, money-wise, which I think life's a bit different these days anyway. I think it is for me anyway, because obviously I was lucky enough to be a singer, so I can earn good money from that.
I think as well, that's going on the internet thing. It's never been easier to make money now. Go back 50 years, 60, it was a very different world.
Almost impossible, yeah. Almost impossible. And there was no help, we didn't have any help from government or anything like that. Well, my mum and dad didn't anyway. Back then, it was the 80s. So it was, that's obviously I'm not going to have that, but if I did, I'd still get through it. I suppose that's what happened in lockdown in a way. I ended up in that position where I did have less than half the money I should have. I was working 3 times as hard as I would normally do, So I kind of did end up going through that, and that's probably how I ended up getting through it, because I learned from my mum and dad, and now they got through it and stuff like that.
So you've been through this journey of life. You've made mistakes.
Many.
You've learned from them. You've had good times. You've had low times. If you was to go back now to like your 16-year-old self, what would be the main thing you'd teach him? What would you tell him?
It's a tough one, because I'd never go back to him and say, don't do this, don't do that, don't make that mistake that you're going to make, and stay away from them, or stay away from this, that and the other.
Do it all again.
I'd do it all again, yeah. Purely because I am a great believer that if I hadn't have made even just one of those mistakes that I've made in the past, or one of those moves that I've done, then I wouldn't be sat here today. I wouldn't be with Bonnie, Ella and Emily. I wouldn't have any of that. And like some of them, I probably wouldn't even be a singer, I wouldn't even have that as a job. So I'd never say that. I probably the only thing I would say to him is, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad you think life is, it is going to be okay. It's always okay, no matter what. I mean, I'm sure, I'm not not sitting here now saying that I've made it and that's that's the end. I'm here. Anything could go wrong.
I've arrived.
Tomorrow, yeah, anything could go wrong tomorrow or next year or next week. Anything can happen. But I do know that it will always be okay. I've always believed in that. So I'd just say that to him. Say it will always be all right. It's like yourself. You've been through breakups in the past, and you get to a point where you're like, oh God, it's the end of the world. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm never going to recover from
It's
this.
that feeling of how can I ever get over this heartbreak?
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. But then 2, 3, 4 years down the line, you look back and go, why was I that bothered about that? Why did I even shed a single tear over that? Because
no offense to all our exes.
Oh, lots of offense to every single one of them.
That's where we're different. Right there.
But no, only joking. No.
Sort of. Kind of.
It's like a Ben Stiller film.
He's not joking at all.
I'm joking, but no, seriously, I'm not. Yeah, so yeah, that's.
I love that,
and
I totally agree, because I think you actually become a better person for the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you was to take the experience out, it's like talking about really appreciating the good things in life. You only get that when you've really been through the bad stuff.
Exactly.
And it's a deeper level of appreciation when you've been through it. But I think the beautiful thing you've said, and the important thing that you've said, is knowing it will be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the message to always remember, is no matter how hard it gets, it will get better. And I do believe that.
Yeah. And only you can do that as well. You have to do that for yourself. If you believe in that side of things, you will get there. If you let it consume you, which, as we discussed earlier, I have done that before. I have let it consume me, but only for a few weeks, a few months.
I mean, a year.
Nearly 2. But still, I still got out in the end, but I could have let that consume me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I could have easily have done that at one point, in all fairness. And that is what it is. You've got to, you just got to try your best to believe. It's not easy. Not easy at all. But it's
Takes strength.
Worth it.
But I think that's where part of that is knowing you've got people that care about you and having the right support.
Oh yeah, without people like you and my other friends and my family, I'd have been knackered. Literally, I'd have been right up the creek, as they say. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, I'm just mindful.
Be right up shit creek.
Your daughter's in the room.
Oh, didn't realise she was there. Sorry, is that quiet? You see.
If anyone's been listening, thinking, "Why is Matt not swearing this week?" That's why I haven't. But yeah, for my show, swear as much as you want. Okay, we've talked enough about you. I want to talk about me. Can we talk about me?
Yes.
I want to talk about our friendship.
Yeah.
I've known you since I was 17.
Yeah.
We've both changed a lot. What do you think our strengths are as a friendship? Why are we still... Because you've been a very loyal person in my life.
Yeah.
I would say probably the most loyal person I have in my life is you.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, same to you as well. I don't know. I think we have a similar outlook on life to a certain extent. Obviously, we also have differences in that. But I think the overall gist... Also, we've got a very similar sense of humour. So, I don't keep a lot of friends because if you don't know me, I could come across as funny or a bit of an a-hole or whatever, you know what I mean? Just because of my humour. It's always a very sarcastic humour, always trying to be funny all the time. And 99% of the time, I'm not actually funny. In fact, I was saying this to Emily the other day, that I think you're the only person that finds me funny most of the time. Literally, I can make you laugh all day long.
Why is that?
Whereas everybody else would be looking at me going, what an idiot. So I think there's that, definitely.
Okay. I don't even know why that is. I just think you're actually funny, but no one else does.
Well, it's because everybody else is stupid.
My dad thinks you're funny.
Yes, he does. So that's 2.
Okay.
I've got 2.
We've started.
That's it.
What do you think our strengths are?
Our strengths, I think we definitely, because let's be honest, to camera and to audio, that in the first few years, we had a lot of fallouts, a lot of arguments. We did, Remember Pontins that time, when we were both being held back by other people so that we didn't get our hands on each other.
Like a proper fight.
Full-on fight, yeah. Fully.
I would say I went close to hating you at one point.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely did with you. No, I didn't. I mean, the same. I got close to hating you. We did, like, in that first few years. But then I think we just worked out when to say certain things and when not to say certain things. Do you know what I mean? Because we're both quite like that. We're both very not. There's no filter. But I think with you, I have a filter, and I think with me, you have a filter. We sort of filtered one in to create.
I don't know if I
filter.
agree with you.
Do you know?
I think I'm probably I'm naturally, you know this, I'm very, very, very honest with everybody.
Yeah.
But I never feel I need to filter anything with you.
No,
I think
probably wrong word
yeah,
to use.
you're trying to say we know each other so well.
I mean, timing.
We know what not to say that's going to trigger offence or whatever.
Yeah, and I think we can say anything to each other. It's just that we learn when to say
When
it.
to say it,
Because
yeah.
there's
I
certain
agree with
times
that.
with both of us where I look at you and I think, yeah, today's not the day to have
yeah,
a laugh with Matt. You know what I mean? He's not in that mood.
And that just comes
today.
with time knowing each other, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm the same. Like one day you can say a line to me and I'll laugh my head off. The next day I'll go, "You what?" Do you know what I mean? And you're the same. So we learned very quickly how and when to do those things and when not to do those things. I think that's a big one.
I think for me, like the biggest thing for me reflecting, the problem was me. And what I mean by that is I wasn't happy with me.
Yeah.
And we had different values in the sense that when we were younger, I had huge ambition.
Yeah.
And you took life easier.
Yeah.
Liked a drink, liked a party.
Yeah. Play football.
And I played football, sociable things. And I saw any minute of being sociable and drinking is stopping me from being who I want to be.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw you as holding me back.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to drink, I wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Knowing that I could have moved forward in life or how I perceived to be moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that's changed for me is that's part of why I had to leave the band.
Yeah.
And it's why I started, way before leaving the band, started working on personal development and learning about myself, is because why was I so angry at those lifestyle choices that you was happy with?
Yeah.
Why did it bother me that you enjoyed a drink?
Yeah.
Why did I feel so bad if I had a drink?
Yeah.
And a lot of it was because I wasn't happy with who I was. And I think now I respect you, because then the change came when I went, but who's happiest?
Yeah.
And the answer was you.
Yeah. Yeah, I did used to try and say that to you at times. I remember saying it. I was happy with myself, I guess. At times, well, most of the time. There's the odd time when I wasn't.
Yeah, and I think, that's why, that's one of the reasons I think our friendship is so strong, because we offer each other a different perspective.
Yeah.
And we're both right in our own way.
Yeah.
About our own thing. But the biggest thing you give me is a perspective of enjoying having less and appreciating less.
Yeah, which is
and the things that really matter, which is relationships, love, and being happy with yourself without anything external. And that's, I'll be honest, that has been a big process I've had to go through.
It's true. It's like if I'm not saying you can just have love, because you can't. You do need money.
I need to
you
eat.
Need some. You need to be able to eat and have a roof over your head and stuff. But if you could get it, I've always found it pointless having millions and millions of pounds, but not having the other stuff, because then there's only so much stuff you can buy that'll make you happy. Eventually, you're going to get bored of it again. Whereas if you can have that love and the family and all the rest of it, and then have the pounds in as well.
And self-love, I think.
Then
actually,
you've got it. Yeah.
Genuinely being happy in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Just happy in your own skin, knowing who you are. Not being, yes, I would love to have a flat stomach. Unfortunately, it's just something I've never really had. Even when I've lost loads of weight, I've still had a bit of a keg down there rather than a 6-pack.
Same.
I'll just have to get used to. I'll just have to be used to that and be happy with that, and just appreciate the stuff I have got that is good. Like I've got, my arms are quite nice. My forearms. These bits could be a bit bigger, but I like these. My hands have got nice hands for piano and guitar and stuff. So you appreciate that side of things, you know.
It is really true, and I think this is something no other guest on this show would bring out of me because it is what we've been through. But one of the biggest things is I was never happy with not being more, having more, doing more, achieving more, and you were always happy without all that.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, why? What's wrong with you? And then she's like, just have a drink, chill out. I'm like, no, because then I'm going to get even more fat and I'm probably going to do something stupid and then I'm going to be even more depressed. And I've literally done a 360, but I had to go through the extreme the other way to bring me back to the centre. And because of it, I think the biggest thing from my side with our relationship that's changed is we're not the same in every way. We do have different opinions on things, but I fully respect your opinions and your life choices when I never did.
Yeah, and same with me, with you. I mean, I always did, but I appreciate them more now. Do you know what I mean?
How did you feel when I went down this whole coaching route? Honestly.
At first, at the beginning, you did change a bit.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not the only one to say it. A lot of people were like, oh, I don't know.
What's he doing?
Don't know if I like him right now. You know, the way, I don't know, just the way it all happened, I think. But if I remember rightly, I think I did have a couple of words with you back then, didn't I? If I remember. I remember talking to your dad about it and stuff as well. I spoke to you.
What was it you didn't like? What was it that was happening?
I don't know, I just can't quite remember. I just think it was like just the way your attitude had changed so dramatically, so quickly. It was like it was a different person, I think. And it was just very, I don't know, it just felt like you gave up on everything apart from that. Which now looking back, you had to do that, otherwise this wouldn't have worked. Do you know what I mean? And then you can come back and do all the other stuff as well. I think there was a bit of that in there. I remember talking about it at the time with you. So there was that. I was also apprehensive of obviously the way everything was, you know, like how you were learning and stuff. But then it's gradually, I saw you gradually becoming more settled as a person, you know, and I started thinking, and looking happy, you know what I mean? And it was all sort of coming together a bit over a few months. It was quite quick, to be fair. So then I was like, oh yeah, go for it. And it's not something, you know, hold my hands up, it's not something I get actively involved in, you know, with it. I don't, you know, I don't think I've watched any episodes or anything. I haven't really got time, to be honest. With
Get off. Get him off.
But I mean, I've watched some of the Rich and Success stuff. I've done that, but like you coaching stuff, I haven't really seen much of it.
We speak about it.
Yeah, we talk about it in private,
in real life.
'Cause I'm not a social media goer on her anyway. Like you look at my Facebook feed, I hardly post anything.
Yeah.
You know, same with Instagram. It's very rare that I do. Or if somebody tags me in a story, I might upload that. But it's very rare that I actually upload my own stories and stuff. So I'm not on social media and stuff like that enough to see it really pop up. If I do, I'll go, oh, what's he saying today? Everything they said, oh, no, but literally that is it. If I do scroll on it and the first thing that comes up on my feed, I'll listen to it for a couple of minutes. That's it. But what I do see is my friend outside of that and in our work or outside of that work, the happiest he's been. So that for me is all I need to see at the end of the day. That's all I'm bothered about, which is good.
Before we finish, the main thing I've got to speak to you about, because this is the main thing I speak to you about in real life, is relationships.
Yeah.
You could be honest. You should be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to say, by the way. What's your advice? Where am I going wrong? Because you're getting it very right. And it's one area of my life where I'm not.
I don't think there
but
is.
You know me very well, so that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you that question, because I'm happy to be vulnerable and I'm happy.
Do you know what I think it is?
Go on.
Genuinely, because there is no actual, there's no secret to it. I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I've been bloody lucky. You know, I've literally.
Have you though?
Yeah, now.
Because I think you are really good in a relationship.
Yeah, but I've been lucky to also, behind closed doors, I'm not easy to live with, me, at all. You know I'm not. You know I'm not easy to live with. So I do have my days. But I've been very lucky to find a beautiful woman that can live with me for a start. So that's the first thing. For you, what I think it is very
He's pointing at me now.
for you, I think it's basically word for word what you said a minute ago about how you were with life.
Forgot what I said.
Which was, you're always looking for more, you're always searching for more. Always. And I think you do the same with a girl. That you get a girl, she could have everything, but you always look for more. You always look like there's always something missing, I feel.
It's just like I'm trying to find something wrong with it.
Yeah. You're always trying to find something wrong with it, or there may well be nothing wrong with it, and you're like, oh, but yeah, you'll find something missing when and then I'll sit there and go, it's not really important though, that. Do you know what I mean?
So what's your advice? For me and for anyone like me, what do we need to start to do?
I don't know. Try, how did you turn it around? Do what you did with life, where you have to go 360 with it. It's a lot more difficult when it comes to stuff like that, and there isn't an actual remedy. There's no words that can be said. It's just a case of all I can tell you is what I can see you doing. So stop doing it. Is all I can say. In a way, do you know what I mean? It's like perfection doesn't exist. Is the best way to put it. There's no such thing as perfect, but you can get damn close to it. But that could mean, it could mean anything. Like, you might have the most perfect girl, but she's got a bent finger, and you'll be like,
Yeah, I know.
oh, yeah,
I know what you're
bent
referring
finger.
to. You're referring to someone in particular.
Am I?
Yeah. We don't have to mention anyone, but someone that I've seen recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's one of them. Yeah, but I think it's always a bit. Yeah,
But do you not think that you just got to feel something?
absolutely. Of course you do.
If I don't
Can't just
feel
get with
it,
anyone.
but if you don't feel that something, they
No.
might tick a lot of boxes. But if you don't have the feeling,
Yeah, but the thing is that I saw you have that feeling.
I don't think you did.
Well, your words came across like they did. The things you were saying and the actions you were doing came across like you did. So I don't know. Only you know that.
No, I think we're talking
inside
about a
you.
different girl.
No,
Okay.
but
Go on.
yeah, it's like, I do think that. But also, I think a lot of your other problems in the past with your past relationships have been more to do with your life itself at the time. But I think you've already fixed all those issues.
I think it's
see what I mean?
insecurity.
Yeah, your own insecurities and also your own ambition in spending so much time
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
doing your work
Yeah.
and not having enough time for those
And
as
that's
well.
the
But I
biggest thing
think
that's changed for me now.
yeah, exactly. So
I
I
have
think you've
more
already
time.
fixed that one anyway, and that's probably the biggest one. That so you've probably already done that. It's just a case
Yeah.
of now meeting the right person, and then when you do, don't look for the negatives.
I think there is truth in what you're saying to some degree about I'm not looking for perfection, but my expectation is high.
Yeah,
And I feel like part of that is because I have worked a lot on myself
Yeah.
and I have got myself to a place where, like you said, I am genuinely the happiest I've been. Not perfect,
yeah.
but I need to really feel something special.
Yeah, absolutely. But what could happen is you could meet that girl and feel something really special, but she might have the same like outlook as me, rather than you. You know what I mean?
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's a really good point, what you've said. Me today, I'd be really okay
Yeah,
with that. They
whereas-
don't need to have all the same ambition and all
Yeah,
that.
that's what I mean. Whereas
We need the same
previously-
values,
yeah.
which we've got.
Yeah. Whereas previously, you wouldn't have been alright with that. You see what I mean? So I actually think you've already changed what you need to change.
Just got to keep being me.
Yeah, and just don't look for anything extra. Don't start.
I'm
adding
not
new things
lowering
in.
my bar, if that's what you're saying.
Oh no, not at all.
Bar is set.
No, that's not what I mean.
anything,
the bar
it's gonna
should
go
always
higher.
be high.
Yeah.
The bar should always be high, but when it could be the bar could be right up there, but you might just find a little imperfection on that bar. But then you don't focus on it. You don't need to.
There you go. Dan Mains.
Wisdom.
Wisdom, always wisdom, and genuinely, these are the chats that we have, and they're valuable to me. They're very valuable as somebody that, like I said at the beginning, that's always, running businesses, leading teams, giving everyone else solutions to problems. You are one of the main people that I turn to, and I just need to let stuff off and hear a different perspective on the same scenario. I think that's what you give me, and you give me a different way of looking at something.
You're the same with me as well.
Do I?
actually. Yeah.
Well, I remember
Well,
you've always said about me.
Yeah, we all have, like, I personally, depends what mood I'm in. If I need a yes man, someone
If you
who's
need someone to just rub your
basically
back.
rub me
Yeah.
ego and go, yeah, you're right. I've got friends I can call for that.
Yeah.
If I need someone to give me the truth, I always call you.
You don't always want to call me, but
No,
you
but
know it's
sometimes
needed.
I need to hear it.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
And I think my clients would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think they're in the same. But yeah, I want to say thank you. I want to say not just thank you for today, but thank you for being a genuine friend,
Thank you for having me.
a loyal,
As a genuine friend, and today.
a loyal person, and just one of the good guys, man. That's what I would say
Try
you
to.
are.
Thank you.
What I know about you, you know, privately, and your values around relationships and women, you know, it's not something I hear a lot. A lot of people, their values, you know, are not as strong.
It's not something I hear a lot of people say about you.
It's only me that says it. No, but we're living in an era, social media era. We're living in an era of a lot of cheating and all the rest, and that's not the person you are. And it's good. That's one of the solid men I've got in my corner that's aligned with me like that. And thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on this show. Listeners, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's been a different episode, a bit more chilled, a bit more real. If you want to see, I mean, Dan says I'm the only one that finds it funny. Like, if you want to see what it's like, the humour side, do check out our vlog. It's on YouTube now. I mean, I laugh a lot in it, so you can fathom whether it's actually worth the laugh, or you can just laugh at me laughing. But I think there's humour to be had.
Hopefully, it felt funny.
If you wanna get that, so do go and check that out. Thank you for being with us as always. Don't forget to make sure that you subscribe, download, rate, and review the podcast. And before we finish today, the question that I ask all the guests on this show, which you won't have a clue because you never listen, is, Dan Mains, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is love, honour, loyalty, and just never giving up, and just always believing it's going to be okay, no matter what.
Is there a reason you did that down the lens?
I presumed I was supposed to.
It looked good. Keep
Felt
it.
like I was on Oprah.
There you go. We'll leave it there.